Developing tonight, a plea deal in the Idaho murder case that left 4 college students dead. Good evening. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Greg Lee. Brian Koberger's case was set to go to trial this summer. Now the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students says he's ready to plead guilty. The plea deal will allow Koberger to avoid the death penalty. Exact details of the agreement have not been released. A change of plea hearing is set for Wednesday. The 4 victims in the case were stabbed to death in a house in 2022. Koberger was arrested after his DNA was found at the crime scene. The family of victim Kaylee Gonsalves used the social media post to express their frustration with the deal. They wrote in part, "We are beyond furious at the state of Idaho. They have failed us. Please give us some time. This was very unexpected. We appreciate all your love and support." Also out of Idaho tonight, we're learning more about the man suspected of setting a fire and killing 2 firefighters who rushed to battle it. Tributes to the fallen firefighters are pouring in. Fox's Jonathan Hunt was in Idaho's small town of Coeur d'Alene when investigators spoke about the case this afternoon.
Investigators continued their search for evidence and for a motive Monday, one day after 2 firefighters were killed and another badly wounded as they arrived to battle a wildfire. The shooter, authorities say, lured the firefighters to the scene by starting the fire intentionally.
We have not been able to find any manifesto.
Hours later, a man was found dead at the scene, a weapon nearby the body.
We had a cell phone activation that was in the same spot since about 3:16. Keep in mind, we had a fire that was rapidly it was approaching the body.
Officials identified the shooter Monday as a 20-year-old man who acted alone. They have not revealed whether he was killed by law enforcement or killed himself, nor why he might have carried out the attack.
What they want to know is what you said, the motive, and did he act alone?
On Sunday, the firefighters who died were taken from the mountain north of Coeur d'Alene in a solemn procession.
I'm sure the last thing they thought was that they would come under fire.
As for the firefighter who was wounded, the sheriff said Sunday he was fighting for his life after surgery. Today, he is reported to be in stable condition. In Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
Washington Senator Maria Cantwell called attention to this tragedy today, asking her colleagues to pay respects with a moment of silence.
I stand with my Idaho colleagues. This is a very tight-knit community between Washington and Idaho. Many Washington police and responders participated in yesterday's activities. Our hearts go out to the people of Idaho, and yes, we want a moment of silence to remember these firefighters.
Governor Brad Little has ordered all U.S. and Idaho state flags to be lowered to half staff across the state. The flags will fly that way until the fallen firefighters' memorial service. The shootings in Idaho are shining a light on the mental health of first responders. Support 7 is a nonprofit in Washington state that provides support to victims at moments of crisis. Their help includes an instant response team. The executive director said many law enforcement departments also have psychologists on call as well as peer support.
In Idaho particularly, it's complicated because just a couple years ago they had the extreme event of the murders at the University of Idaho and in Moscow, and that's a neighboring county. And so for everybody there to consider how to care for everybody in that way, and that an event like this triggers the other things that have happened.
She said that dispatchers, medical examiners, and other first responders also carry a burden of grief and distress in these tragic moments. Fire crews in Southern California are busy tonight. Multiple fires are spreading across Riverside and San Bernardino counties. The Wolf Fire is the largest. It's burned more than 2,400 acres in Riverside County since it started yesterday. It's about 30% contained. The cause is under investigation. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf spoke with people evacuating due to the Juniper Fire about 25 miles away.
On the front lines with firefighters for the latest wildfire to explode in Riverside County. Fire tornadoes spinning up in the Juniper Fire Monday afternoon, quickly spreading to more than 600 acres. Crews attacking it on the ground while making water drops from the sky.
My neighbor sent me a picture of the fire coming over the mountain, so these guys are the real heroes. Came and loaded up all my horses, and my sister got everybody out. The sheriffs were walking horses out and saving my animals.
Skyfox above as horses run from a barn on fire. Hundreds of homes evacuated outside of Paris.
Terrifying, absolutely, but they did an amazing job. The fire circled my whole entire house, and somehow it's still here.
This fire is spotting ahead of the main line. Right now, firefighters trying to save this home.
We're just trying to keep ahead of it, and right now we just need to get water. There's an inconsistent water supply out here, so that's what we're facing.
The wolf fire started Sunday also in Riverside County. The flames now scorching more than 2,400 acres south of Banning.
Dry, hot, frequent spot fires. It's definitely a time for us to watch out.
Hundreds of acres burned so far outside of Paris, many people still on alert.
It's sad and really scary. You know, we worry about fires every year here, and it's the first time it's ever come this close.
Firefighters here feel like they're starting to get the upper hand, but it's been a very busy few days for them. Reporting in South Riverside County, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
The Trump administration is suing the city of Los Angeles over its sanctuary policies. The lawsuit claims that LA's sanctuary city ordinance hinders White House efforts to crack down on what it calls a, quote, crisis of illegal immigration. It is the latest in a string of lawsuits against so-called sanctuary jurisdictions, including New York, New Jersey, and Colorado, that limit cooperation with federal immigration authorities. This comes as the White House has stepped up immigration enforcement, including posting National Guard and U.S. Marines in Los Angeles. Two more Southern California cities have canceled 4th of July celebrations amid that ramp up. The latest include Huntington Park and the City of Industry. Last week, the cities of Bell Gardens and Cudahy canceled official events. Supporters of a San Francisco-based drag performer rallied tonight in support after he was detained by immigration officials last week. They say he performed Wednesday night in the Miss and Mr. Safe Latino pageant show under the drag name of Hillary Rivers. They say the following morning he attended a scheduled asylum hearing at immigration court in San Francisco and was detained by immigration officials.
To be clear as well that immigration is an LGBTQ issue. So many members of our community came to the U.S. From around the world, fleeing violence, trying to find safety, and they are here to avoid violence. And this administration is now responding by disappearing them.
Advocates say he's been sent to a detention facility in Bakersfield. Rivers is reportedly from Guatemala. Supporters do not want to reveal his given name for fear it could put him in jeopardy. We have a sad update to this month's Molotov cocktail attack in Boulder, Colorado. An 82-year-old woman who was injured in the attack has died. Karen Diamond was in the area where a crowd of demonstrators gathered when Molotov cocktails were thrown in their direction. About a dozen people were hurt. Diamond is the first person to die as a result of injuries from the attack. Mohammed Solomon is facing dozens of state and federal charges over the incident. First-degree murder has now been added to those charges. A tragic accident in Arizona where a 4-year-old boy died after drowning at a public pool. It happened last night in the city of Chandler, just southeast of Phoenix. Police say lifeguards pulled the child from the water and immediately began life-saving efforts. He was rushed to the hospital but did not survive. It is unclear how long that boy was underwater.
It can happen as soon as just 20 seconds into the incident. So very quickly, and then they'll go unconscious within just a minute or two. Obviously, we wouldn't know what the specifics of the scenarios were, where the lifeguards were placed, maybe what bodies of water were open, what bodies of water were not.
The incident occurred after regular hours during a private church event with about 60 attendees. Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the drowning. Scary moments in a Washington neighborhood. A little girl runs from an alleged kidnapper. What we know about that suspect tonight.
And in weather, here's a live camera in Phoenix. The camera picking up on the sunshine, but not the intense heat. Record heat today in Phoenix and a current temperature of 113 degrees. We'll update the forecast coming up after the break. Then small in stature, huge in talent, will introduce you to the 5-year-old captivating audiences with his piano playing skills.
Home security camera video shows how a 5-year-old Washington girl ran home after being approached by someone. Police say they tried to kidnap her. Investigators say this happened in a Vancouver neighborhood last week. The security camera captured images of a white car driving through the neighborhood as children played outside. The 5-year-old says the driver told her he'd give her a toy if she'd followed him to the corner. She also says the driver took off after she said no and ran away.
In my opinion, he was trying to steal my niece and rape and murder her, and we would not have seen her again. Unfortunately for him, he messed with the wrong family.
Police have arrested 21-year-old Alexander Rietbrock in this case. He's charged with luring and communicating with a minor for immoral purposes. This is not Rietbrock's first arrest. In March, he was accused of offering 3 teenagers money for sex. He posted bail the same month. When he was 16, he was found guilty of blackmailing minors with sexual motivations. The state of Utah is suing Snapchat's parent company. Utah filed a lawsuit today accusing Snap of profiting from social media design features that turn children into Snapchat addicts. The state also says the app facilitates drug sales and sextortion. Snap has commented on the lawsuit, denying those claims. It also says it protects Snapchat users. The state of Utah has filed similar lawsuits against Meta and TikTok. A family of 5 adults and 6 children were rescued in Arizona yesterday after attempting a hike in temperatures of up to 114 degrees. The family called for help when several of the children began complaining of heat and fatigue. They were hiking on a trail that was closed because of the heat. Members of the Phoenix Fire Technical Rescue Team had to use rapid cooling methods and a basket to carry down 2 of the children, ages 9 and 11. Everyone in the family was assisted off the mountain with no injuries reported. Fire crews say it is critical to be aware of conditions before heading out in extreme temperatures.
It's really unexcusable, really, if you're going to put a child's life in that danger. When you have a 5-year-old, 7, 9, 11, there's a little bit of chaos involved in there. And so that was on every rescuer's mind.
Crews say several signs are posted indicating the trails are closed due to high temperatures. No citations have been issued. An extreme heat warning remains in effect in Phoenix. A live look tonight at the city where triple-digit temperatures are expected through late tonight. Let's bring in KTVU Chief Meteorologist Mark Tamao, who's tracking that hot weather and other conditions across the West. Hey, Mark.
Hi there, Greg. Yeah, real intense, dangerous heat. You can see this was Phoenix today. A record high to report 116 degrees. So in that dangerous territory. The old record, 115 degrees. The average high for this state is 107 degrees. So more intense heat in the forecast for tomorrow. And as a result, all these areas in red, we do have extreme heat warnings. That warning is in place for today and even into your Tuesday for parts of Arizona and in portions of Southern California. As we check out Seattle today, it's actually a warm day with temperatures in the upper 80s, showing you some blue sky from earlier this afternoon. And then in San Francisco, the typical summertime fog is back. 61 degrees in San Francisco, so at least compared to Phoenix, a much cooler pattern out toward portions of the West Coast, out toward the California shoreline. Showing you the current numbers out there. It's a warm 89 in Portland, San Francisco 60, Los Angeles 64, and 106 degrees in Las Vegas. Now, we're also watching some showers and thunderstorms across parts of Northern California. This circulation in the Pacific is kind of destabilizing the atmosphere enough that we do have these showers and thunderstorms. And the main concern is the fire threat. A lightning strike could lead to some new fire starts. So as a result, all these areas in red, a red flag fire warning for today and into a Tuesday. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on those thunderstorms developing, that potential with some lightning strikes. Here's the plan for tomorrow. More sunshine up in Seattle. It's warm for Southern California. We talked about that heat warning out toward Phoenix. We have some thunderstorms out in the Denver area for tomorrow. Here is the forecast model, the Fox weather forecast model, showing you this. And as you can see, we'll put this into motion. Still the coastal clouds out toward portions of the California coastline. And it looks like we have some showers and thunderstorms, especially out toward Denver. And then once again, we're going to keep an eye on that shower and thunderstorm threat up in Northern California. So here is the plan for tomorrow. As you can see, it's another warm day in Seattle. Temperatures in the lower 80s. San Francisco mainly in the 60s. Los Angeles in the mid to upper 70s. And we started off this forecast talking about the real intense heat in the Phoenix. We'll finish up with that as well. As you can see, a bit of a cool down. Still very hot on Wednesday, 105 degrees, but definitely trending in the right direction as we do head into the Thursday forecast. So talking about those thunderstorms for parts of the west and also that intense heat showing up on this forecast map, as you can see, for the parts of the west coast over the next few days. Greg.
Okay, feel bad for our friends in Phoenix there, Mark. Thank you. Home builders in the West say a shortage of skilled workers is slowing their work. Fox's Kennedy Hayes spoke to one builder in Colorado about the challenges he is facing.
The study found labor shortages are really slowing things down for builders. Some are taking on fewer projects. Others say their jobs are taking longer to complete. And for smaller companies, the delays can be even worse. One builder I spoke to says even when he's ready to call in plumbers and electricians, they're not always available.
Unfortunately, now they're in such high demand that sometimes they'll push back and say, well, Jim, love to do your job, can't get to you when you need me, but I can show up on this date. So sometimes that impacts our schedules.
According to the study, because of the skilled labor shortage, it's taking builders nearly 2 months longer to complete a single-family home. Jim Latsis says 5 years ago, these custom homes took about 10 months to build. Now it's closer to a year or more. And that extra time can be costly for buyers and builders. That's because builders often take out loans to fund projects, and longer build times means they're making more interest payments. And builders typically take those extra costs and pass them on to buyers in the form of higher home prices. The study found fewer young people are going into trades like plumbing and electrical, while many older workers are retiring. Experts say immigration policy is also having an impact because nearly a third of the industry's workforce comes from abroad.
Our industry has a very large immigrant workforce, so we need to continue to provide them a safe harbor, a legal safe harbor to work in the industry, because we're not going to solve this just domestically in the short term.
And according to the study, builders finished about 19,000 fewer homes last year due to the labor shortage. And advice, if you're a home buyer and you want a certain style or feature, builders say the best thing to do is speak up early and bring a little patience. In Denver, Kennedy Hayes, Fox News.
A high-stakes showdown is underway on Capitol Hill tonight as the Senate enters a marathon voting session on President Trump's sweeping tax and spending bill, what he calls the Big Beautiful Bill. Democrats argue the bill slashes Medicaid, adds trillions to the national debt, and favors the wealthy. But despite the criticism, Republicans are pushing ahead, although their majority is far from a guarantee. Two Republicans plan to vote no, meaning just one more defection could sink the bill.
Republicans need to stay tough and unified during the home stretch, and we are counting on them to get the job done.
It's only a beautiful bill if you're a billionaire or a very wealthy person. For everybody else, this is a big, ugly betrayal.
Republicans are racing to meet President Trump's 4th of July deadline to pass the bill. If it clears the Senate, the House could return as early as Wednesday to vote on the legislation. Coming up, Amazon increases some items on the online retail giant rising faster than inflation. We'll show you what's driving the spike. Also ahead, a piano prodigy from Southern California making history. The 5-year-old set to play some of the most iconic venues in the country.
I went to watch a symphony and I loved it. Then they invited me to Carnegie Hall.
Get ready to pay more to cruise to Mexico. Starting tomorrow, a new passenger tax takes effect for cruise passengers. They'll be charged a $5 fee when their ship stops at a Mexican port. The rate will eventually climb to $21 per passenger over the next 3 years. About 3,300 cruise ships are expected to stop in Mexican ports this year, bringing about 10 million passengers with them. Seattle-based Amazon appears to be hiking prices on some goods made in China. Reuters asked DataWeave researchers to study sales of 1,400 products made in the country. The researchers found prices went up 2.6% from January to mid-June. That's more than the rate of inflation. It appears most of the price hikes occurred in June, suggesting tariffs could have impacted prices. Goods rising at the fastest rate include school and office supplies, home furnishings, cookware, and electronics. On Wall Street, stocks ended the month and the quarter higher on optimism over trade and tariffs. The Nasdaq and S&P 500 both reached new record highs. after Canada scrapped its digital tax on U.S. firms. The Dow added 275 points, the Nasdaq was up 96 points, and the S&P 500 gained 31. Shares of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise rallied 11% after it said it reached an agreement with the Justice Department for a merger with Jupiter Networks. Jury deliberations in the sex trafficking case against Sean Diddy Combs hit a snag after just an hour after they began. The foreperson alerted the judge that one juror was struggling to follow instructions. TMZ is reporting that the judge responded by giving the jury detailed legal guidance to help address their concerns. He then sent the panel back to continue deliberations while keeping 5 alternate jurors on standby in case they're needed.
I think a lot of people are trying to, what's the deal with this guy? Well, he is a 51-year-old white male who is somebody with a PhD, so he's clearly is not an unintelligent person. He's got his PhD in molecular biology.
Combs faces life in prison if convicted of racketeering and sex trafficking. The charges involve violent, drug-fueled encounters with 2 ex-girlfriends, but his lawyers say they were consensual. Finally tonight, a 5-year-old piano prodigy from Southern California is dazzling crowds across the country. Fox 11's Christine Devine reports the LA native is set to perform at Carnegie Hall in July.
At just 5 years old, Los Angeles native Alec Van Kajadurian is enchanting audiences far beyond his years. Began playing piano as soon as he could walk, punching keys with a joyful curiosity. Before turning 1, his perfect pitch was already apparent.
I like playing brand new pieces. I like feeling the music, all that kind of stuff.
By age 4, Alec was performing Bach's Minuet and Beethoven's Ode to Joy. At 5, he claimed first prize at the Charleston Winter Music Competition performing William Gillick's Flamenco.
My favorite artist is Beethoven.
This summer, Alec takes center stage at 2 of the world's most prestigious venues, Walt Disney Concert Hall on July 1st.
Super excited. Hello everybody, I'm Alec Van Kajadurian. Welcome to the show. I'm gonna play flamenco and arabesque.
And later in July, New York's Carnegie Hall, one of the youngest to ever grace the storied stage. Just last year, he was visiting Carnegie Hall.
I went to watch a symphony and I loved it. Then they invited me to Carnegie Hall because I won the competition.
Alec Van Kajadurian may be small in size, but with talent this big, he's already playing among giants.
Truly remarkable. Thanks for joining us tonight. You can stay up to date on all the stories we're covering online. Just go to westcoastwrap.com and be sure to download the Fox Local app on your phone and smart TV. Good night, everybody.